Welcome everyone. This is Politics Spotlight on Gov TV. A presidential aspirant under the All Progressive Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has stated that qualifying to be president for Nigeria does not require strength, but intelligence and smartness to overcome the numerous problems bedeviling the country. Tinubu stated this when he met with delegates of the APC ahead of the party primaries in Minna. He said, and I quote, "The president's job is not to climb mountain, wrestle, or carry concrete. It is to think and perform with his brain." On this episode, we want to examine the 2023 presidential ticket, Brawn or Brawn. On this episode today are two gentlemen, Mr. Kolade Segun-Okeowo. He is the president, advocate for Right Leadership Association. And I have on Zoom, joining from the United States of America, Dr. Samuel Alfa. He is the national president of Kogi State Association in the United States. I'm Additional Lanawaju. The show begins in a moment. Let me once again welcome you, and I want to welcome our guest again. Before we go on that short break, Dr. Samuel Alfa is the national president of Kogi State Organization in the United States. Dr. Alfa, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir.
And in the studio here is the national president, advocate for Right Leadership Association, Mr. Kolade Segun-Okeowo. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Now, let's kickstart this conversation. Dr. Alfa, when it comes to governance, which is needed, Brawn or Brawn?
Thank you very much for that question. When it comes to governance, you need a combination of both the brain, but then it depends on how you define Brawn, okay? Yes, you do need a physical strength because, yeah, there's a need for you to be healthy in order to be able to actually be in office to lead the people. So in that aspect, yeah, you need some form of physical strength, but brain definitely is a winner. You must have the brain. And what do you mean by brain? You are talking of somebody who has understanding, who has intelligence. That is what we are talking about. So yes, you do need both.
All right, let's come back to the studio. Kesu, I was saying that is it your personal or is it your personal brain? You need your personal intelligence to run a government in our own country, Nigeria, in the Nigerian context?
Well, to govern any nation requires both. And now we're even talking about a complex nation, as complex as Nigeria. There is a need for whoever is going to be the president of Nigeria to have a combination of the brain, talking about the mental alertness, and also the physical alertness. Come to think about it, how do you want to talk about mental alertness when the physical alertness is not there? For crying out loud, why do we in the civil service ask people to retire at a particular age? Why do we in the armed forces, in the military, why do people get to a particular age and they are told to go home? Now that tells a lot. That means that at a particular age, physical alertness becomes a challenge, you know, for every human being. And that's why in the civil service, so if in the civil service we say people should retire at a particular age, even in the pastoral ministry, even in churches and ministry, when you get to a particular age, you are required to go on a leave. So whether you like it or not, even outside of the nation, even in organizations, even in businesses, even in the military, in the civil service, people get to a particular age and they are asked to retire because there is emphasis is placed on physical alertness, giving way to mental alertness.
Thank you so much. Dr. Alfa, my guest here just talked about the civil service, going on retirement at a particular age. Do you think there is need for people or individual or aspirants that are coming to the seat of power, more importantly, the presidential seat, for their age to be regulated?
That is a very good question, one that needs to be handled with some wisdom, because you don't want to get into a situation where you'll be found discriminating against age, because that could cause a lot of challenge. Because constitutionally, do we have it in there that if you are at a certain age, you are expected to serve as an elder statesperson, or do we say anybody can? So for us to actually answer that question in the right way, we have to go back to the Constitution and then say, this is what the Constitution says about aspirants, that there have to be some age limit. Yes, when it comes to civil service and other, we do have age limit, but then we want to make sure that we follow what the Constitution says and not just what I feel that should be the age of this person, or or make it something that is subject to individual. Make sure it is actually subject to individual interpretation, because that is where we get into the situation of you being the leader and you don't like somebody, then you force them to retire. That will lead to misinterpretation. So yes, what does the Constitution say about aspirants and their ages? Because age discrimination is a big issue that I would not want to delve into.
Okay, so what does the Constitution say about the age of an individual coming to the seat of power?
No, I like you to get my digression while I mentioned the civil service and all of that. We're talking here about the necessity of brain or physical alertness. I only use the example of the civil service to place emphasis on physical alertness. The physical alertness is necessary. Yes, the Constitution does not give a bar of age for presidency. That is not arguable anywhere. There's no limit to the age by which you can become the president of the country. And we are not saying that at the age of 80 or even 90, somebody cannot become the president of Nigeria. However, we are asking the question, how about physical alertness? How about mental alertness? And we are saying you cannot guarantee mental alertness when physical alertness is missing. That's where the digression came in. Not that there's going to be, we are suggesting that there should be an age limit. No, the Constitution does not permit age limit.
Right.
Once you are qualified by age, for example, the presidency in Nigeria, I think is 30 or 35. When you are 35, you are qualified to be the president of Nigeria. Okay. So that's okay.
So let's talk about the activities of the president. Is expected to have some people who works with him. He has SAs, he has ministers, he has a number of people that are working in associate with him. There are those people, those are set of people that will think for him. So what's the place of, it must be fit, it must be smart in terms of when he has people who will work together with him. Keso.
Well, whether you like it or not, the buck still stops at the table of the president, and whoever occupies that seat, will either make or mar. Yes, you can have as much as 1,000 special assistants and all of that. Yes, those are statutory offices and they are meant to advise, they are meant to guide. But the truth is this: as the leader of an organization, the buck still stops at your table. Think about it. Even as the chairman of a party, I'm talking from my own personal experience. I was once the chairman of a political party, one of the major political parties at the local government level. I know the energy that was required of me just to be the chairman of a party at the local government level. I know many times I had to get back home midnight. I had to wake up very early in the morning because I have assignments of the party chairman. That's just the party chairman at the local government level. Now talk about a governor. Talk about a president of a whole nation, a nation of over 200 million people with myriads and myriads of challenges, myriads and myriads of problems. No. You can't have somebody who does not understand, the indices of the nation. You just have to be all in all. You have to understand economics, you have to understand politics, you have to understand health, you have to understand, even though you are not a professional in all the aspects, there are people who will advise you. That's why you have the ministers. However, a president is a leader who is required to know something about everything. He should know something. He doesn't have to know everything about everything. He can't know everything about everything, but he must know something about everything.
So he don't need to go and carry concrete, climb the mountain, go to Dr. Alfa, if there is a call, maybe there is an security, there's a security issue in one state. Don't you think the health of a sitting president play a long role in this situation, Dr. Alfa?
Yes, it does. But, like my brother has said here, when we are talking of one getting into any position of leadership, I'm not just going to limit it to the presidential. Oh. It can be anywhere. It could even be the local government councillor. When we are talking of you taking any role in leadership, you do need that physical strength. It is needed because there are certain things that will require you to be there. But then I want to focus more on the health of the person rather than just physical. Because obviously for you to be physically healthy, you must be mentally healthy too. Okay? So the health of the person actually matters in you getting into that role of leadership. So, to a certain extent, you don't need to be 100%, strong, but because you do have people who are assisting you all around, because you are not a dictator. So obviously in politics and dictatorship shouldn't have any room. So the people that you have under you, you should be able to designate them, to go and act on your behalf. But like was just mentioned, from the previous speaker, it is this, that yes, you must have an understanding of what is going on to be able to even know the type of person to deploy to go somewhere. Okay, and that takes some physical strength. Okay, but you must have that mental capability to be able to discern who should do what, and that's not just intelligence. You also need that physical strength to be able to actually do that.
All right, Doctor, we're going to go on a short break now. But before we go, when we come back, we'll come and you will make your comment. You make your comment to it. Now, the question is, the current administration about few months ago posted a particular head of service to a particular state because of this current security situation in that country. It was reported that this head of service, it was reported that it was there. But after some time, it was also discovered that it didn't even give attention to the command of the sitting president. When we come back, you come and you will share what your takes on it. We'll go on a short break now, and when we come back, the show begins. Welcome back. For perhaps you're just joining us, this is Politics Spotlight on GovTV. And I have in the studio at the moment Mr. Kolade Segun-Okeowo, who is the National President, Advocate for Right Leadership Association. And I also have on the Zoom Dr. Samuel Alfa, is the National President of Kogi State Organization in the United States. Before we go on the break, Dr. Alfa, we're talking about the sitting president, the current president of the country, about some few months ago, sent someone, one of the service chief, to a particular state in the country to go and calm the situation, the security situation in that country. It was reported that he went. After some time, we discovered that the command was not as listened. What is your take on this with relevance to the fitness and smartness we're talking about as we prepare for 2023 general election?
Thank you very much for that question. The problem that we have in a country like Nigeria and the leadership challenge is the fact that most of the people that are placed in leadership role are just placed there as compensation for other contributions that they made during the political campaign, or just there as compensation because they are friends or they are acquaintances of the leader. And so most people that are placed in position of power are not there because they have any intelligence in terms of what they are being assigned to do. And that's an example of what you just said. If you send somebody to go and handle a situation, that should be the person that actually has some knowledge of what is being handled. But obviously, that is not the case here. Okay? The person got there and didn't know what to do, or was just there just as a body without the intelligence that is needed, without the brain that is needed to handle. And so we need to move away from that leadership style where we just compensate people by putting them in offices.
Thank you so much. So now I think that is currently the game in today's politics: compensation and participation. Compensation. What's your take on just compensating an individual because he has done this, because it was in the times of the campaign, he was there, and the president or whoever won the election just say, oh, let me compensate Olanrewaju. Yeah, Olanrewaju, come and become the SA media. What is your take on compensation and government appointees?
Well, I'm going to look at it from two perspectives. Number one, the truth is that when you are talking of a democracy is a participatory style of government, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Now, so whether you like it or not, the compensatory aspect of politics, you cannot rule it out. That somebody has participated in a process and you feel that, okay, because you have participated in this process, you should also be part of that process. And that's why we are calling upon people, we're calling upon the intellectuals, we're calling upon the good people of this nation. Do not just sit and allow people who shouldn't have any business ruling the nation be the ones who will do politics all the time. People should get involved in politics. I was talking to a friend recently, a lecturer, and I said, ASU has been using the same style over and over and over. And I said, you people find a way of getting your own people into government. Because as long as your own people are not there, this cycle will continue. You have been going on strike since I was born, and then it will continue like that. So the truth is that you cannot rule out the fact that people who participate in the process deserve to be part of that process.
How about the professors in the government today? We seem not seeing any different. We have a professor who is a minister. We have a professor who is a vice president.
Larry, politics is not a one-man's show. It's not a one-man show. It's a gang. You don't get into politics, and when you don't find like minds around you, you become a lone ranger. So it's not just a question of one good head. No. It's a collection of good heads. So if I am in politics, you are there, we are there, doctor is there, we all have the same mindset and we are going towards the same direction. It's good for us. But in a situation where one good head is working in the midst of 20 bad heads, there's virtually nothing that one single good head can do. So because politics is about number, it's about number, it's about how many people want this. What if they put it to vote? You have brought a very good idea, and then there are 29 of you in the House of Assembly, for example, and then you are the only one voting for that good idea. So what? Democracy does not agree with you. That means you are wrong, because 28 people says no, only one person is saying yes. As far as democracy is concerned, your idea is not acceptable. And that is the bane, that is one of the bane of politics in this country, that the wrong people are always participating in politics. The good guys are sitting out there shouting, protesting, complaining, and criticizing. I am not an advocate of protest, but I'm an advocate of effective participation. Participation by, causing changes by participation, not by sitting back, complaining, protesting, and criticizing. It doesn't work anywhere.
Thank you so much. Now, I'm still going to come back to you. Let's quickly look at history. Do you think former President Musa Yar'Adua, let's look at his case. He's smart, but when it comes to fitness, is he a perfect example to this situation, or to what we are talking? Don't you think he's a perfect example?
Okay. Well, that's one of the things we are talking about. That's one of the things we are talking about. For example, I know a former governor in the southwest of Nigeria who told us that he doesn't go to bed until 2 a.m. And by 5 a.m., 6 a.m., he's on his feet again. Now, how do you expect somebody who is not physically fit to sleep at 2 a.m. and then get back to work by 6 a.m. or 5 a.m.? He has just a luxury of 3 hours, maximum 4 hours to sleep. If you are not fit, you cannot afford to do that. And that's exactly what happened to His Excellency Sheikh Musa Yar'Adua. May the Lord rest his soul in perfect peace. What we are saying is that whoever is going to be the president of this nation must combine physical agility with mental alertness. We can't take anything less. We shouldn't take anything less. It's not something we should bargain whether the president should be fit or not. The president must be fit. To be the chairman of a local government requires fitness. I know what it means to be the chairman of a local government, let alone governor, let alone president. I mean, we can't negotiate it.
All right, Dr. Alfa, I'm coming back to you.
Yes.
Recently, you contested, you plan to join the political race in your state, Kogi. As at that time, or even at the moment, were you the one who dictated that you are fit to run, or you are smart to run, or fit to rule, or the voters dictate that? So in this contest, who should dictate if an individual or a presidential candidate is fit or smart? Who should be the dictator? Is it him or the voters or the masses? Dr. Alfa.
In the first place, thank you for that question. Before I address that, I want to say something about what Mr. Okeowo said about democracy, about ASU, and then the fact that there should be participatory governance or government. I agree with those things. When you look at it just briefly, ASU is very much involved in the political cycle of Nigeria, because I think that when you look at the way they have all of the electoral officers and the returning officers, they are all professors. So they do have a role to play, but the thing is, are they playing the role because of their intelligence, or they are playing the role because of some self-aggrandizement kind of thing that is given to them? So that's a question, for another session. And then when you talk of participation, yes, when you get into the office, you want to, compensate those who actually assisted you in getting in there, but it should not be at the expense of good governance. You need to, yes, compensate the people, but don't just put anybody just because because they made contribution, you just put them into an office, whether they have any, whether they have any mental capacity to be there or not. And that's the question that we're actually saying. I'm not saying don't put people in there, but then let there be people who can actually handle the office that you are giving to them. And, this statement might not be something that everyone would agree with, but as far as I am concerned, knowing what democracy is, Nigeria does not practice any democracy. There's no democracy in Nigeria at all, because we do not elect people in most of the places. In most of the places, people are just selected. Some people will tell you right now, they say they are campaigning for this and that. Some people will tell you, oh, we already know who the next leader is going to be. How do you know it? So when you look at it, then are we really looking at votes as being what actually count? Or is it because of, what we call Brawn now may not just be the physical capacity, but is it the monetary capacity that you have? Or is it your godfatherism and all those things, which are other aspects that we don't have time to even deal with? But going to the question of when during the last gubernatorial election I contested in Kogi, yes, there was, the people are supposed to decide who actually gets in there. But then when you look at the Kogi state election at that time, which was the only one on that day, was there really any election in Kogi? There was none. It was actually a war, because the sitting governor decided to deploy, the arsenal of the government to actually, disrupt to actually disrupt the election. And with that, obviously, people were killed, and people were running for their lives, and therefore there was no election at all, in Kogi State at that time. But what it should be is the people are supposed to decide. But in addition to they deciding, like here in the United States, the president has to submit a certificate of fitness, which means they are examined by an independent medical group to go through everything having to do with physical, fitness, and they make sure that there is no, there's no hidden disease. There's nothing that is going to make them to become incapacitated when they get into the office. So those kinds of things, I'm not sure that we have that in Nigeria as is. And even if we do, the question of the person that will do that is also something that we should talk about when we talk of.
All right, let's come back to the studio. Kieso.
Yeah.
Dr. Alfa just called for the presentation. Of course, we still have more time to deal with that. Of course, and you know that we usually inculcate things from the foreign world. Do you think that every presidential aspirant or gubernatorial, anyone contesting for the office of the governor should present a certificate of fitness, and why?
Larry. I will make again a case that even in lesser, I'm sorry to use the word lesser, in lesser offices, people are required to bring certificate of fitness. If you are going to take a job in federal government office, you are required to bring a certificate of fitness. So if I'm going to become a level 8 officer, a level 7 officer, and you're asking me to bring a certificate of fitness, why shouldn't a president bring a certificate of fitness? Why shouldn't a governor? These are offices that are much more delicate than level 7 office. So there should be no argument about it, except we want to say, okay, cancel medical certificate all over. Even for pilgrims, people who are going to travel out of Nigeria for pilgrimage, to Mecca, to Jerusalem, they are required to bring certificate of mental fitness or physical fitness. So we must, as a matter of urgency, make it a legislation that presidents, governors, senators, House of Assembly members should present certificate of fitness. Not only physical fitness, but also mental fitness. Because sometimes when you see the way some of these lawmakers, people in office, people in government, the way they behave, you want to ask, are you sure this man does not have a mental problem?
All right, thank you so much. Let me come back to Mr. Alfa. Mr. Alfa, let's talk about the issue of qualification. Apart from fitness, apart from smartness, apart from medical certification, what other qualification should voters look for a presidential candidate or gubernatorial candidate?
Thank you very much, Mr. Oladewaju. The issue of running for an office in Nigeria has a lot of things that still need to be brushed and to actually refine. The experience that I had in 2018 leads me to actually conclude that most of the people who actually run for office actually run on the part of the brawn, not the brain part of it. And why do I say that? Because in my interaction with some of the aspirants at that time, you could actually tell that those people really don't have any purpose for running other than just to grab power. And that is all that they were just doing. They just wanted to just grab power. But when you ask them, what is your mission? What is your vision? Do you have any manifesto? And almost every one of them didn't have any manifesto. Some of them, when you ask for manifesto, what they will do is they will repeat for you what the purpose of the party is. Well, I'm in APC because APC does this, APC does this. But how about you? Why are you running for the office? Yes, that is the vision of APC as to what APC stands for, so that it can guide you into actually fitting into that party. But then, how about you? Why are you really running? So, in a sense, when you ask them, there is no manifesto. So while I had one written and I refused to share it with anybody, you can say, no, I mean, I'm not going to share my manifesto because I don't want to copy. If you can copy, just telling me what the party stands for as what you stand on, then there's a problem. So I'm not going to share that, but most of them didn't have. So when you look at it now, why are you really running for the office? And so that is the underlying question that really needs to be answered. Then,
Doctor, sorry, I want to come in with that statement you just made. But I'm going to quickly ask KSO a question before I come back to you. KSO, you are the National President Advocate for Right Leadership Association. In this context, what is your organization doing to help to determine, voters to determine where to go. I'm going to come back to that question. Dr. Alfa, recently, a presidential aspirant was asked this same question. How are you going to treat, or how are you going to tackle the insecurity in the country? What he said, that is left to me. Don't you think coming out to tell us what your plans are for the numerous problems bedeviling this country, coming out to tell us where you are where you are campaigning, will encourage us and will change our mind to voting for you?
I mean, there's no question about that at all. That yes, if you are asked that question, you should be able to respond and say, this is the reason why I'm running, this is my vision, this is my purpose, these are the things, these are the programs that I want to embark upon. Okay, then you should be able to answer and say, in terms of security, this is what I plan to do. And that comes from that brain part of it, because you have already had a knowledge of the fact that there is insecurity in the country, insecurity in the state, insecurity in the local government. And so one of the things we are running for is to address that, situation. And so if you do not have the brain, which is having that knowledge, because some of the people that run, they are not even in touch with the people that they want to rule. That they want to lead. Because, there's a difference between leadership and rulership. Another story for another day. But these people just want to rule, and that's where the brawn part of it comes in, and the brain part of it is missing. So everything is, they just want to me telling you, this is left to me, and you want me to vote for you? I'm not going to vote for this is left for me. I want to vote for somebody who is telling me these are the things that I want to do. Then I will come in and then say, you know what? Yeah, I think as a voter, I see some points in this, because I do have my own opinion too as a voter, but I think my thought aligns with the thought of this aspirant or this candidate. And so, yes, I'm going to vote for this person because I think that I can see solution in arresting this problem that we have. So we need to be able to stand and tell the people. And a very good avenue for it is when you have debate. I know we tried that one time in Nigeria, it didn't quite work very well. But then when you actually have the candidates coming out to actually debate, so that they can tell you what programs they have, so that people can be
Doctor, we have to end this show in very soon. But let me quickly come back to. I'm still coming back to. You're going to give your final take on the focus of today. Keso, tell us. You're the president of Advocate for Right Leadership Association, and we know your organization has been doing well. As far as this focus of today is concerned, what is the organization taking to or pointing voters to in this regard? You give your final take.
Our biggest challenge is sensitization. Quite unfortunate that a large number of Nigerians don't even know the kind of president they need. They don't even know. Sad enough, even the youths are, they are part of this challenge. They don't even know what makes a good president. For quite a lot of young people that I have interacted with in the last few years, it is who can throw away money. Who can throw money around? And then some of them will even look at an aspirant and say, that one that cannot spend money. For them, he can't spend money is a disqualification. And that's a big problem. So our focus as an organization, Advocates for Right Leadership, is to reorientate the minds of Nigerians that throwing away money is not a qualification of a good presidential candidate or a governorship candidate. It's quite unfortunate. So we need to change the mindset of young people. Today now, I'm sad to tell you that fraudsters are winning elections in Nigeria. Fraudsters are winning elections. They are winning state assembly elections, local government elections, and federal legislative elections. Why? They have money to throw around. And the people believe that the higher you spend, the better you are as a candidate. And that's one of the saddest, aspect of the Nigerian politics today, which we must consciously reorientate the mind, especially the young ones, that spending money is not a qualification of good leadership.
Spending money is not a good it's not a qualification of leadership. Dr. Alfa, what's your take home? What's your take home on this issue? In 1 minute.
What Mr. Okeowo said is completely, true as far as, the situation in Nigeria is concerned. And I must applaud, Mr. Okeowo for for your organization and for what you are doing, because that's definitely what we need. And a part of the sensitization should be to let people know that those who come into the office, that instead of using the government as a vehicle to advance them, when they put the wrong people in there, then the people then begin to use the people as a vehicle to advance the government. Those are completely two different things. The government is supposed to advance the people and not to use the people to advance the government. And that is the reason why they oppress the people anyhow, they suppress them, they intimidate them, and then don't care. That's why you talk of people don't get salary and all those, because the people are being used as a vehicle, to actually, to drive the government instead of using the government to be what to actually carry the people. So the people need to know the distinction between the two. But yes, for us to actually talk of having, that brain power and then to be able to lead, we're talking of people who come with intelligence, who have purpose, who have mission, who has vision, who use strategy instead of force. And I'm not just talking of just diplomacy only, but you have a strategy, you have surrounded by people. Like I said before, you need that manifesto to be able to say, yes, you want to run. Then I'm talking the difference between leadership. We need leaders, we don't need rulers.
All right, Doctor, thank you so much. We have to wrap up the program now. Many thanks to you, Dr. Sam Alfa, National President of Kogi State Organization in the United States. We thank you for your insight on the focus of today. And in the studio with me is the President, Advocate for Right Leadership Association, Mr. Kolade Segun-Okeowo. Many thanks for joining us on this program today. It's going to be an impactful time when I meet you. Until then, we go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.